One UI 8 has been with us for a while, which means we've been able to dig deep into some of its features and find some of the stuff that's very hidden. And I mean really hidden, because on the surface, Android 16 and One UI 8 on the S25 Ultra is looking a lot like One UI 7.1. But let's dive in and take a look. Welcome back to SamMobile TV. You're here with Daniel. And today, I just want to go through some of the things that we've uncovered and the general Samsung community have uncovered about the One UI 8 beta. It's moving along pretty quickly, especially considering that One UI 7 was like only a month ago. We're now looking at One UI 8 launching very, very soon. In fact, Samsung have told us it's launching with the next foldables next month. So here's 10 things that we've uncovered, and like I said, the community have uncovered as well. First one is to do with multi-window. Now, we know Samsung have kind of been the pioneers of multi-window. They kind of were the ones that, I guess, innovated it from the start, and everyone's kind of jumped on board. And now we're seeing a new feature that originally was on the OnePlus Open, and then now Google are adopting for Android 16, which of course is going to come to Samsung as well. So if we take a look here, we've got Twitter open or X open. So let's just say I bring in Spotify as the second app that I want to have open. Now, you can make this now 90/10. So you can jump this down as low as that. And then it's really easy to jump and switch between the two apps. You've got the 10% at the bottom, and then you've got the 90% at the top. But if you want to go to the 10% one, you tap it, and then it's got the animation to switch between it, which is nice. And I think going to make for a lot of easier multitasking to have two apps open rather than needing to have it always be sort of like that. You can drag it all the way down to the bottom like that. Number two is there's a new way that I guess connected devices show up in the settings. So let's just take the buds out of their case and connect them to my phone. Let's make sure they're connected. Here we go. 3 devices connected. Buds are connected. If we jump into settings, you will see here Daniel's Buds 3 Pro. I love the idea that this is doing, because a lot of people, I guess, when they're connected to a device, will go to settings to try and find it first. So Samsung are now bringing it to the forefront here. So you click on it and it basically will just take you through to the Galaxy Wearables Galaxy Buds screen. That way, rather than having to go to Galaxy Wearables, then to Buds, there is now just a shortcut within the settings to jump and bypass that and go straight to it. Just removing steps from how you have to access settings for things like peripherals and allowing it for the buds to go straight to it. Pop these away now. We do not need it. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's because I'm putting them in the wrong side. There we go. Away with you. Next, we're going to look at Samsung DeX, and there's 4 new things with DeX to talk about. First one is the way you snap windows left and right. So with Samsung DeX, you've always been able to use keyboard shortcuts to go left and to snap windows to right. They're still there, but they were a bit buggy in the versions that I've been testing. But they've added in with pop-up windows a new way with the mouse to do it. So when you tap on the icon at the top left corner, you'll see send to left, send to right, or snap to left, snap to right, and then it'll swap between the two sides of the screen depending on which way you've sent it. That's a really cool option, and it just means now, rather than needing a keyboard to be able to do multitasking like that, you can just use the touchpad on the mouse or a physical mouse if you have one. The next one is within that same sort of drop down is send to other display. Love this one because, and I actually used this the other day on the TV in the lounge room, I had the gallery open on my phone, and then when you bring it down into a pop-up window and you tap the 3 dots that are there, in that middle section there, and I'll show it now, is going to be or will be a send to other display. So if you've got DeX connected, you can drag down into a pop-up, hit those 3 dots, and then send that app onto the DeX screen. Conversely, if you want to send it from the DeX screen to the phone screen, you can do that as well within that menu. It just means that if you want to switch apps between DeX and phone, you can do it a lot smoother. it's a quicker transition as opposed to needing to just open it up on the phone. You can keep it where it's held, where you have to close it and reopen. It just sends it straight to it. Great for going from phone screen to DeX screen because you can just do it exactly where it's placed and cast it to the screen. Number 5, sticking with DeX, is there is new options, at least I think there is, for desktop and sort of recent apps. Previously with One UI 7's version of DeX and every other version before it, if you hit the Recents app key in the DeX screen, it shows you any app that's open on the phone. Now, when you hit Recents apps, it's going to show you the desktop apps that are open. So anything that's open within Samsung DeX will be open there, and then the Recents apps on the phone will be separate. There was a version of One UI 8 before the beta started that said Desktop 1. Makes me think that Samsung are testing out the opportunity to perhaps have multiple desktop variants within the DeX setup. Really looking forward to seeing if they develop that further or if that was just a test build that might not go anywhere. But just the fact that they've got separate desktop apps in Recents and phone apps on the phone screen is great because it means you can solely focus your work on what's happening on the desktop and keep the phone stuff separate. The next one, and this is the last one for DeX, is there is new grid options for the home screen. So previously when you've had the grid or you've had the home screen for DeX, you could place apps anywhere. It was very desktop centric. What they've seen now is Samsung have got a grid set up in here. So you can only work within the parameters of the grid as to where apps can sit. If you try and put an app outside of that grid, it'll just fall back to the closest grid spot available. Whether this is a great hidden feature or an annoying one depends on how you like to use DeX. Personally, I don't like it. I prefer freeformity and the option to put things anywhere, like a desktop. But it's kind of, for me, thinking like they're blending tablet mode and sort of DeX mode with the home screen. Up to you what you think of it. Let me know in the comments, but there is now a grid for the home screen within Samsung DeX for where you can place your apps. The next one at number 7 is the new predictive back gesture. So in the settings, when you're in the settings menu, and I imagine this hopefully will be expanded out to other areas, let's say you have a menu open and you want to go back to the previous menu. There is a new sort of predictive gesture where it's like, oh yeah, I can see what you're doing. Let me show you what you're looking at before and go with an animation to sort of follow where your finger is moving. And if you don't do it, it sort of retracts back into itself. It's very different to One UI 7. And I know that there is in the developer options a way that you can turn predictive back texture on. Like if I hit predictive, that's like how you spell predictive. I don't even think I have developer options turned on here. I know there was a way on One UI 7 to do it in developer options. So if I search for predictive, why do I get things wrong with spelling? Predictive back animations. For some reason, when I click on it, it doesn't take me to where it is in here. And for the life of me, I look through and can't see it, but it doesn't have it by default. So if I go into a menu, like the same one I'm in here, connected devices, it just holds the screen and doesn't do anything. And sorry, the screen was so dim, adaptive brightness torturing me, it just doesn't work. Whereas over here, get that predictive swipe and you can move it across. Nice. Number 8 is to do with the gallery and it's called private album. Now this is a hidden one because this isn't a default option. This is hidden within Gallery Labs. So if I go into menu and into settings, go all the way down to the bottom and go to Gallery Labs, which you can activate by tapping on About Gallery a number of times. Mine's already activated, so it doesn't come up, but then that'll activate Gallery Labs. When I go in here, there's a new option for private album under One UI 7.x. Now, whether that was a option because 7.1 was going to happen, it was going to be part of that, not sure, but it's here now. There's a bunch of other stuff in here as well, but the one I want to focus on is private album. Go into private album, we'll turn it on. If you go into the menu key, you see it there, private album. When you tap on it, it's locked by your fingerprint. Now, there's nothing scandalous in here, so I'll put it open. And you can see what it's got active. I've just moved 2 files in here, and now it's hidden and locked by my fingerprint. To move stuff into there, so if I wanted to move a couple of these photos in, I can just hit on the 3 dots at the bottom, move to private album, and it's moving the items across. And then when I go back to it, unlock, they're in there now. So I guess you could say it's similar to having secure folder because it's locking things away behind a fingerprint, but rather than needing to go into secure folder first, it's here in the gallery under a private album. Depending on which way you like to use your phone, this could be more convenient for you, or if you really want to keep everything separate, then secure folder would still be your solution. But this is just an extra option. Number 9 is there is a slight change and tweak to some of the camera user interface options. So when you launch the camera and you go to video, what you will see is the resolution toggles here at the top have expanded out. Functionally, they still all do the same thing. There is no change to how any of these resolutions work or how you use them. It's just now how you change between them. With One UI 7, we can go and open this one up. You can see in the video toggle here, it's a lot sort of more compact and not really defined. Whereas now everything is kind of defined within its own sort of pill or sort of menu shape, whereas it wasn't before. That change is also extended into single take. So when you go to change a single take, I guess, solution in here, you'll see that again, rather than it being sort of a list, it's now icons sort of that are highlighted when you turn them on or off. Whereas here, it's like that. Again, it's doesn't change the functionality of how single take works. It just changes how you interact to activate things. And the last one that we've been able to find is to do with battery. More specifically, battery protection. So if we go into battery here, and you can see battery protection there. Again, I'll bring One UI 7 into it because why not? Let's go to battery. Now, if we go to battery protection in both of these, what you'll see here is that basic and maximum are still there on both, but adaptive protection has now become a toggle. So that means that depending on which one you've got activated, basic will allow you to turn on adaptive, whereas here it's basic, adaptive, or maximum. There is no adaptive option for basic. So that just depends on which one you prefer, what style of battery protection you like. Basic will be the default, and then you could turn on adaptive as part of it. Whereas here, it's 3 options, basic, adaptive, or maximum. So you have some options now, or at least some more tweaking you can do with the battery protection with toggles. So that's just a list of 10 things about One UI 8 that we've kind of been able to figure out in usage. I would say to people expecting drastic overhauls of software, don't. One UI 8 isn't about Samsung completely redefining what One UI is. It's about reclaiming One UI and the timeliness of it and sort of putting confidence back into consumers that they can trust Samsung with software updates again. So if you want to follow the One UI 8 journey and see when the next betas drop for the other phones like S24 and S23 Ultra, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Go check out our website. Join us as a member too, because anytime a video drops, you'll get early access to it. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.